Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. You know, it was one of those things where the Little Mermaid live-action remake out there turned into a disastrous dumpster fire. It's got crazy records as far as being the most disliked YouTube Disney Hollywood premiere in history out there with absolutely insane numbers. And, well, it did not do as well at the box office as a lot of people expected. In the past, a lot of these live-action remakes have sometimes pulled in $1 billion or more in some cases. But obviously, The Little Mermaid was where that trend decided to start dying. And, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs will not, of course, do any better at all. That thing looks like it's going to be hot garbage from the very beginning, and Disney is doing everything they can to do some kind of damage control to make sure that that movie doesn't end up like the Marvels. Well, one of the fun things that we've always talked about here is we know the fact that these budgets that are reported in the media generally are always underestimated, right? We know, especially when it comes to Disney and Marvel and a lot of these other companies out there, they always end up overspending on a lot of these kind of things. Well, as we have said in the past, all we generally have to do is wait for the United Kingdom to release those wonderful tax documents to find out the truth, because as I had said before, this movie undoubtedly lost money, and it turns out we were absolutely 100% right on that one. Because from our dear sweet friends over at piratesandprincesses.net, it turns out the 2023 Little Mermaids lost Disney money. Yes, boys and girls, and this leads even farther to the credence that Disney has lost billions of dollars on this push for diversity, inclusion, and equity, and it has blown up in their faces time and time again. And this is just a wonderful, sweet little victory lap for information that we could have already said, duh, no doubt. We kind of already knew this was coming, but hey, you know what? Sometimes it's fun to laugh and document the disastrous dumpster fire that is all things Walt Disney Company these days, and that's exactly what we're going to do right here. So before we get into this article, give you all of the juicy details and show you exactly how much money this movie did indeed lose, but before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below letting us know what you think about all this. Does it surprise you at all that this movie did end up losing money? Do you believe this also contributed to the trend of Disney trying to turn things around and go in a different direction? Or do you think it's full steam ahead and they're just going to continue losing billions of dollars? Let me know what you think about all of that down below. So, from piratesandprincesses.net by our Mr. Milo over there. A little over a year after its release, the live-action remake of Little Mermaid has left the public consciousness, aside from the Disney Junior animated series Ariel, which of course is not doing very well at all, and guess what? The toys aren't selling. The movie caused many to rethink and ask, why do we need all of these remakes? The once profitable trend that Disney could rely on for money is drying up. The film's first teaser trailer currently holds the record for the most disliked trailer for any Hollywood production with over 30 million views. It has 3.8 million dislikes, boys and girls. It was an absolute abomination. It was absolutely insane. I think they even actually ended up moving it over to like kids YouTube or something like that to close up the comment section. Yeah, it was that kind of disastrous dumpster fire. Disney got nothing but egg on their face. We knew this thing was going to be hot garbage right from the very beginning. And then when we saw some of the other clips that we got out from some of the ridiculous music they had in that, plus if you watch some of those trailers, how abysmally bad a lot of the CGI looked, plus obviously, besides the giant elephant in the room, race swapping Ariel, I'm sure that didn't help anything. Mommy, why doesn't the Ariel in my movie look like my toys or my cartoon? At the worldwide box office, the movie made $569.6 million against a reported $240.2 million budget. But as always, that's before advertising costs and theater cuts, which just makes this movie even more of a disastrous dumpster fire. Initially, Disney was said to have made a small profit from the film. I said at the time you might be able to argue that, but we knew with marketing costs and everything else, there was no way in hell it actually made a profit. And guess now what? Now we've got the proof. Not as much as the billion-dollar success like 2017 Beauty and the Beast or 2019 Lion King. However, it turns out the original reported budget wasn't accurate to what ended up being spent. Color us shocked there. In a recent report from Forbes, the movie ended up actually costing $355.1 million. That means that movie would have made, just on the budget itself, would have had to make $900 million globally to even argue that that movie made a profit. And guess what? It didn't come close to that. exceeded the original production budget. One of the biggest factors in that was the large amount of visual effects, which ironically was one of the elements that was heavily criticized. Yeah, it looked dark, it looked bland. When the original movie is so bright and colorful and so amazing and beautiful, this one was a dark contrast to it. And we know why they add darkness to CGI effects, because it covers up poor CGI, and even then the price tag to that ballooned nonetheless. The initial film ending in July 2021, with the visual effects being worked on over the next year. According to a financial statement, an additional $335.4 million was spent on effects. The film's large cost was slightly decreased to, of course, the tax credits from the UK government, bringing it down to $289 million. With the estimated $285 million in theater cuts, the film ended up losing Disney roughly $4.9 million at the box office. Once again, that number is not factoring in marketing costs. If anybody remembers when this movie was coming out, these trailers and these visuals were everywhere on social media, on YouTube, on all of your advertising platforms. This thing was everywhere, because that's why they always talk about you got to do at least 2.5 times, because they basically expect your production budget to be equal what you spend on marketing. That means this movie cost at least $250 million just in marketing alone. Like I said, this movie lost them hundreds of millions of dollars. The movie did more damage to Disney's image than its bank account. Arguable. Stacked on unsold dolls, school supplies, clothes, and cosmetics based on the movie are all being placed in clearance bins, while merchandise based on the 1989 original took its place. Which, once again, this is all cost that ties directly into this movie. And we don't even have the numbers, nor will we probably ever get the numbers on how much money they spent on merchandise that does not sell. Anybody been to an Ollie's lately? Both this film and the upcoming remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are seemingly the straws that broke the camel's back for many. The future of Disney's live-action remakes may be severely affected by these failures, and it absolutely is going to be. This has damaged the live-action remake brand, and this shows you right now, when you decide to take characters and because of diversity, inclusion, and equity, i.e. Snow Brown and the Seven Hobbits, whatever the 7 CGI characters that they've got out there, we literally know why this fails. You automatically ended up starting from a false premise. And Pirates and Princesses doesn't want to say that. And that's fine. But this initial trailer reaction did not get that ratio that bad, that fast, to have Disney try to hide it over there on kids' YouTube if it wasn't for the initial reaction of the race swapping. Everybody knew this was nonsense from the very beginning. We heard about the promotions, we saw the marketing, we knew what this was going to be, and then we saw all of the horrendous songs and all of the rest of the kind of nonsense you pulled out of it. It was boring, it was bland, it was dry, it looked horrendous, and guess what? It failed miserably, and now we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that yes, it did end up losing the Walt Disney Company money, and absolutely in the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars once you factor in marketing and all the merchandise that they have 100% lost money on, because now you're literally throwing it in the discount bin, begging to get pennies back on the dollars you have spent. The Walt Disney Company, the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, failed, lost money, and now we've got it confirmed. And after all, Disney, you get exactly what you deserve.